Hi, this is Sunday, the 11th of July 2021. This is the Democratic Alliance weekly Labour report. Thank you for coming on board. Thank you for listening. And if you are happy with this, please send it to colleagues, friends, associates. I would really appreciate that. I intend today to have a look at what's going on in the marketplace of labour. You must have a look at job creation and the various alternatives that have been suggested by the Democratic Alliance to try and create some jobs out there in the market. I just want to recap. It's important to note that we have an official unemployment rate, this is official government unemployment rate, of 40%. That's almost 11 million South Africans are out there actively looking for jobs. It's unbelievable. But if you're looking at the youth unemployment rate, that's 65% and climbing. By December, we'll have another group of learners going out there into the marketplace and not finding jobs. The economists tell us that our economy, in fact, is shrinking. And they're probably saying that it's the worst in the world. So you've got to add all those factors up and tell us, how do we, as South Africans, how do we try and engender and create jobs? We also know that productivity in South Africa is the second lowest in the world. And that on the World Economic Forum Index, we are the fourth lowest with regard to our labour laws and our regulations. They're telling us that the laws and the regulations are acting as a handbrake to job creation. We've also noted over the past few weeks, and I have spoken about it, that the Department of Employment and Labour have proposed certain amendments to the legislation that's been brought to the Portfolio Committee of Employment and Labour. And those amendments are going to make the law a lot harsher, much more difficult, much more complicated for businesses. We already have 11 major pieces of labour legislation. We have thousands of pages of regulations. We have sub-legislation. It is unbelievable. You can look at textbooks till the kingdom come, and you'll see all our labour laws and regulations contained therein. It's very difficult if you're a small business. We've also noted with those amendments, some of them are going to make it even more difficult. We did speak about the amendments to the employment equity legislation. Well, it's going to lead to more job losses. It's going to lead to real problems. And there's nothing we can do to stop it. We've tried our utmost. The proposals on employment equity will, if passed, and I think they will be, create havoc at the workplace. Foreign investors are falling off our horizon. And big business is reluctant to invest. We're seeing that all over. The only investment big business will do is for computerization, mechanization, outsourcing. They won't invest to create jobs for more people. We know that small businesses are hamstrung because of this enforced problems that we've got. The enforced membership of bargaining councils, for instance. That's a real problem. And we did once speak about it. But if your small business, let's say you're a small jewelry store and you have to compete with Anglo-America, I mean, it's just impossible. You can't pay on the same scale, you can't have the rights and benefits as same as big business. It was our Minister of Employment and Labour, Tito Mboweni, that suggested that the businesses should decouple themselves from the bargaining councils. Great idea, but he got shot down in flames. Now we all know that small business is the engine room for job creation in the future. We know that. The economists tell us big businesses are shrinking. Yes, they're still earning, and yes, they still got the same profits, but they are not employing, and that's the problem. If you want to come back to me, get hold of me for any reason, I'm Michael Bagram. I'm the Democratic Alliance Labour spokesperson. My email address is Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, @Bagrams, BAGRAIMS.co.za. Let me have some comments. Let me have some input. The Democratic Alliance is open to listen to any input on how can we create jobs. Well, let me go into it. We have, as a party, been recommending that if people would start looking at atypical employment, we could start at least creating some jobs in every sector. We need to ensure that people are able to find at least a footing into the world of work. Otherwise we're going to have more crime, we're going to have more drugs, we're going to have insurrection. We need to get someone to put a foot into the world of work, and especially our youth. Now the bottom line is there are ways and means of at least getting people in without making that employer, the small employer, without making them nervous. One of them is to employ people on short-term contracts. Must be just less than the 3 months if people are earning under the threshold. That's 17,700. If they're earning under that, you must get them in your employer for less than 3 months on a short-term contract. If it works out and if you still have more work, then you can make it permanent. At least it's opening the door for that individual, someone who's promising and someone who's productive. It's very important. We know about the platforms. We know about Uber and Airbnb. Those platforms have worked wonderfully. We don't want to outlaw them. We need the gig economy, G-I-G economy, the gig economy. In other words, not a formal job per se, but at least get people trained, get them into the marketplace. Of course, we don't want to make employers nervous. We don't want them to say, this is going to be a marriage. We know that in South Africa today, it's easier to get a divorce than it is to dismiss an employee. We want to be able to get employees into the workplace without creating all those hassles, without creating the problems that we see at the CCMA, at bargaining councils, at arbitrations, labour court. Employers don't need that. They don't need that at all. We have independent contractors. Enter into an independent contractors agreement. Go to outsource companies and ask them to provide labour, because then it doesn't create a nexus between you as an employer and that employee. Obviously, after 3 months, they could deem you to be an employee, but the labour brokers know how to do their work and they'll do it. We know that the Department of Labour is thin on inspectorate. We know that they are creating more harsh environment. Let's overcome it. Let's overcome it together. Come back to the Democratic Alliance. Let us know about some of your ideas. We can share with you as to how to structure the employment relationship so it doesn't create those problems. Remember, probation is part of our law, and probation makes it easier to part ways if you don't feel that that employee is working. So thank you once again for listening to me. It's Michael Bagram, Sunday the 11th of July 2021. From the Democratic Alliance, from our Labour desk. Thank you very much.